So good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Betty Smith, registered nurse, naturopath, and medical director of Akana. And tonight we are on our product overview with wellness experts. So today, as I was sharing with everyone, we are going to talk really briefly about the kidneys because we need our kidneys. We need our kidneys to function at their maximum capacity so they can do their job. And so we are going to talk today about the mental, emotional, and metaphysical aspects of the kidneys. And then next week, I'm going to have some kidney experts on who will share about more of the anatomy and the physiology or the function of the kidneys, and really how to keep our kidneys at functioning at their maximum capacity, as well as how to prevent how to prevent degeneration, dysfunction, and the like through diet and other aspects, as well as things that you can do yourself to minimize any damage to the kidneys. So we're going to be brief tonight. And first of all, I'm going to show you guys a little video about the kidneys, because maybe everybody hasn't seen kidneys, what they really look like, the structure and what they do and that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you that quick video. It's about 5 minutes. And then we are going to get into it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Oh, hold on.
Can't hear anything, Dr. Betty. The video is not playing. Dr. Betty, the video is not playing. Cannot hear anything. Shirley.
Okay, so you all couldn't see the video? Did you
It's not
see it?
moving. You can see it, but it's not moving or talking.
Okay, so maybe I cannot mute myself. Maybe I have to have that on. Okay, hold on. And we're going to try it again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Share sound. There we go. Uh-oh.
In this video, we're going to be looking at the kidney, its anatomy and physiology, structure and function. Let's do this. What's up, bio nerds? Leslie Samuel here from Interactive Biology TV, where we're making biology fun and we're going a layer deeper. In the last video, we spoke about, I gave an introduction to the urinary system, and we said that the urinary system had some basic functions. Number one, cleaning the blood. Number two, regulate pH. Then regulate blood.
Fiddlesticks.
And some other functions. Now, these are very important functions. If you want to maintain homeostasis, you want there to be balance in your internal environment. Balance is very important. Now we're going to take it deeper by looking at the place where most of this stuff is happening, and that's in your kidneys. First, I want to talk about the structure of the kidney. As you can see here, we have different layers in the kidney. The outermost layer is what we see here as the cortex. That is the outer layer, all right? That little part up there, that is the cortex. And that's where some of the processing happens. Next, we have the medulla, and that's more kind of like the middle layer. And that's where some more processing happens. And then we have the pelvis. That region right there is where you're basically collecting the urine and sending it out to via the ureters. You can see there's a ureter right here. That is where the pee is going to go down to the bladder. Now, the kidney is going to be very much involved in filtering and cleaning the blood. You have a lot of blood that's going to the kidney. And here you can see some of the blood supply. In the next video, we're going to dive deeper in the blood supply and look at which vessels are coming to and which vessels are going away from the kidney. This is going to be very important for you to understand the function of the kidneys. But for right now, what I want you to understand is that blood is coming obviously from the heart, and it's getting to your kidneys and it's being cleaned, because we got to have some clean blood. We got to have homeostasis. We got to get the bad stuff out. We got to get rid of the ammonia and all of that stuff, regulate the pH. You get the point. Now, I want you to get a good idea of how much work the kidney is actually doing. When the heart is working, hopefully your heart is working. If you're watching this video, fortunately, your heart is working. It is pumping blood throughout the body. And the cardiac output, the amount of blood that's leaving the heart at any given time, is about 5.6 liters every single minute. 5.6 liters. Now, of that, about 1.2 liters goes to the kidneys every minute. That's like 20% of all the blood that's coming from the heart is going to the kidneys and is being filtered and going through the processes that we are talking about in the urinary system. So we're filtering about 20% of that blood at any given time. Of that, when we filter the blood, we produce approximately 125 milliliters of filtrate every single minute. Now, I don't know if that sounds like a lot to you, but what that ends up being is 180 liters every single day. Now, can you imagine if all of that had to come out as pee? Fortunately, that doesn't happen. In fact, we produce about 1 liter of urine every single day. Now, some of y'all produce way more urine than that. So if we're making 180 liters of filtrate every day, but only producing 1 liter per day of urine, all of the rest has to be reabsorbed into the body. Reabsorption is what accounts for the difference. Now, I want to make this practical for you. Right here, I have a 5-gallon bottle of water. Now I have 10 gallons, 10 gallon, this 10 gallon. It doesn't have, it's not full of water, but you get the point. Actually, hold on. 15 gallons of water. Okay, this demonstration isn't gonna work. Okay, imagine I have 10 of those 5-gallon bottles of water, and that is approximately how much blood your kidneys are filtering every single day. This is 1 liter. This is one of those pancake things. You fill it with the batter, and then you could squeeze, and then it pours the pancake. It doesn't matter. But this is how much I need to get from that. The difference between this and those 10 bottles is how much reabsorption has to happen in the body. As you can see, it's a lot of filtering and a lot of reabsorption. If you think that's a whole lot, go ahead and hit subscribe and tap that bell notification icon to be notified whenever I create more awesome
Okay. That was a quick lesson on the kidneys. Anybody have any
Yeah.
questions about that?
It's too bad we couldn't see what was happening.
You
It
couldn't
just
see
stayed.
it?
No, it stayed on his face. It was stuck the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, it was stuck. Just heard his voice. No examples. Not seeing his.
Oh, fiddlesticks. Don't laugh at me. Oh, no,
Yeah.
that was the whole point.
It was very descriptive though, so we got the idea
got the
about the
gist of it.
amount. God, Lee, that's a lot of, that
I
goes
know,
in and on a little road comes out.
Okay, well, I apologize. I saw it. I don't know why you guys couldn't see it. That
The
was
information was interesting though.
awesome. Okay, but you all get the general gist of what's going on with the kidneys. That is perplexing to me. Does everybody know what kidneys look like? What the kidneys, the ureters, and the bladder look like?
No.
No. Okay, hold on.
Yes,
How many people know? How many
I
people
know.
don't know?
My
Okay.
answer is
Me.
no.
Okay, all right. Now I
Me.
want you all to see this. I
I gotta
specifically,
get back on. How did I get off?
you're still on.
Mm. Okay, now I'm back. Okay. I
Okay,
see you. Mhm.
okay, cool. All right, so hold on 1 minute. I want you all to see these kidneys. That was the whole point to that. Okay. Video. Okay, I'm gonna stop my, oops. Yeah. Oh, fiddlesticks. Oh, no. Don't start now. Click, how do you do that? Okay. All right, so I was trying to stop my video. And then I'm gonna go to share screen. And there he is again. And then I'm gonna say share. Oh, wait. Go back. I forgot to do the sound. Hold on. Back to the meeting. I see we got a whole new crew of people. I don't know why I can't go back. Welcome, everybody. So what we were doing here is that, stop the share. What we were doing here was that we're talking about the kidneys, and I was really trying to show a video of the structure and just a little bit about the function of the kidneys. So today we are only going to talk about the mental, emotional, and metaphysical aspects of the kidneys. And then next week, we're going to have a special guest who's an expert in kidneys, and she is going to take us through the structure, the function, how best to, okay, let me try this again. Okay, I'm going to share the sound. That's what I missed. That's the step I missed. What is this? Really? Want any of that? Okay, I don't know what that's all about. Let me get out of there. Yes. Hold on, I got you all. Let me make. Okay, now I'm the co-host. Meeting is being recorded. And I am going to share screen. Start now. No. Share audio.
In this video, we're going to be looking at the kidney, its anatomy and physiology, structure and function. Let's do this. What's up, bio nerds? Leslie Samuel here from Interactive Biology TV, where we're making biology fun and we're going a layer deeper. In the last video, we spoke about, I gave an introduction to the urinary system, and we said that the urinary system had some basic functions. Number one, cleaning the blood. Number two, regulate pH. Then regulate blood pressure and some other functions. Now, these are very important functions if you want to maintain homeostasis. You want there to be balance in your internal environment. Balance is very important. Now we're going to take it deeper by looking at the place where most of this stuff is happening, and that's in your kidneys. First, I want to talk about the structure of the kidney. As you can see here, we have different layers in the kidney. The outermost layer is what we see here as the cortex. That is the outer layer, all right? That little part up there, that is the cortex. And that's where some of the processing happens. Next, we have the medulla, and that's more kind of like the middle layer. And that's where some more processing happens. And then we have the pelvis. That region right there is where you're basically collecting the urine and sending it out to via the ureters. You can see there's a ureter right here. That is where the pee is going to go down to the bladder. Now, the kidney is going to be very much involved in filtering and cleaning the blood. You have a lot of blood that's going to the kidney. And here you can see some of the blood supply. In the next video, we're going to dive deeper in the blood supply and look at which vessels are coming to and which vessels are going away from the kidney. This is going to be very important for you to understand the function of the kidneys. But for right now, what I want you to understand is that blood is coming obviously from the heart, and it's getting to your kidneys and it's being cleaned, because we got to have some clean blood. We got to have homeostasis. We got to get the bad stuff out. We got to get rid of the ammonia and all of that stuff, regulate the pH. You get the point. Now, I want you to get a good idea of how much work the kidney is actually doing. When the heart is working, hopefully your heart is working. If you're watching this video, fortunately, your heart is working. It is pumping blood throughout the body. And the cardiac output, the amount of blood that's leaving the heart at any given time, is about 5.6 liters every single minute. 5.6 liters. Now, of that, about 1.2 liters goes to the kidneys every minute. That's like 20% of all the blood that's coming from the heart is going to the kidneys and is being filtered and going through the processes that we are talking about in the urinary system. So we're filtering about 20% of that blood at any given time. Of that, when we filter the blood, we produce approximately 125 milliliters of filtrate every single minute. Now, I don't know if that sounds like a lot to you, but what that ends up being is 180 liters every single day. Now, can you imagine if all of that had to come out as pee? Fortunately, that doesn't happen. In fact, we produce about 1 liter of urine every single day. Now, some of y'all produce way more urine than that. So if we're making 180 liters of filtrate every day, but only producing 1 liter per day of urine, all of the rest has to be reabsorbed into the body. Reabsorption is what accounts for the difference. Now, I want to make this practical for you. Right here, I have a 5-gallon bottle of water. Now I have 10 gallons, 10 gallon, this 10 gallon. It doesn't have, it's not full of water, but you get the point. Actually, hold on. 15 gallons of water. Okay, this demonstration isn't gonna work. Okay, imagine I have 10 of those 5-gallon bottles of water, and that is approximately how much blood your kidneys are filtering every single day. This is 1 liter. This is one of those pancake things. You fill it with the batter, and then you could squeeze, and then it pours the pancake. It doesn't matter. But this is how much I need to get from that. The difference between this and those 10 bottles is how much reabsorption has to happen in the body. As you can see, it's a lot of filtering and a lot of reabsorption. If you think that's a whole lot, go ahead and hit subscribe and tap that bell notification icon to be notified whenever I create more awesome content. And maybe somehow that's gonna make the process happen better. I don't know.
That repeat was great, Dr. Betty.
Great.
Yes, yes, it was.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys got something out of that. That was my
Yeah.
whole intent. So welcome everybody else. And excuse me. So no. Kathy. Hey Kathy, I'm on the Zoom right now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, it's tonight and we're on it right now. Okay, bye. Sorry, guys.
Dr. Betty, I got a question.
Okay, cool.
My question is this. Your presentations go into our Akana app, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Can you guys hold on 1 minute?
Thank you.
Somebody's having an issue getting in. 88. Oh, anybody else have a question?
I have
Dr.
one.
Bet, okay, go ahead, whoever that is.
Okay,
Go ahead. Mine's about something totally different, so I'll ask her at the end.
okay.
So mine is, so is that what happens when people have kidney dialysis? Now that machine is filtering the blood like the kidney would normally?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly what happens. Yep.
Mhm.
And it literally, there's a machine, well, the last time I saw it anyway, there's a machine on the side and the two ureters that led from the tubes that led from the kidneys to the bladder. The blood, so what they do is they take and they connect a vein and artery, usually in a person's arm, sometimes it's up in their chest area. It's called a fistula. And then they stick the needle in there and the blood literally goes from their body through these tubes into the machine, and the machine literally cleans their blood and then puts the blood back in. So
Wow.
it's about a 4 hour process. One of our Akanapreneurs is a kidney expert. She works in dialysis and she's going to join us next week and really give us some information about the kidneys and that kind of thing. And yeah, so it's quite extensive. It has changed over the years. My father was one of the first people to have a, excuse me, a kidney transplant back in the early 70s. And kidney failure because of, you know, how men for the most part are, they don't want to go to the doctor, you know, they're macho. And so he had high blood pressure, nobody knew. And one day he passed out in the front yard and it was on and popping after that. So yeah, so the more again, the more you know about your body and how it functions, the more of a steward you can be in protecting and supporting your body's functions. And so that's the whole purpose of our meetings on Tuesdays. Not so much to focus on disease and dysfunction, but really on prevention and how to sidestep the diseases, function and degeneration, and how to potentially reverse anything that's already going on.
Dr. Betty,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a relative, a family member who has been on dialysis for a number of years now, 3 days a week.
Right.
I'm wondering if a person in that position were to detox periodically, do you think over time that just might do something for the blood?
I would, you mean for the kidneys?
The kidneys, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, cleaning the blood.
I would say potentially yes. And again, it's over time because remember, different organs take a different amount of time to regenerate. For instance, the pancreas takes 3 months to regenerate. Excuse me.
Well, not only that, they would also have to change their eating habit too, though. I mean, they can't.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh
know,
my
I mean, that's really a part of our narrative. This is
Yeah.
why we are teaching people what we are teaching them and the way that we're teaching them, because for the most part, people, you know, what you see on TV is what you eat. You know, what they say is good for you is, you know, for the brainwashed, that's what we think is good for us. And so because we are a little more savvy, because we are educating ourselves, because we're being educated by those who have
Good job.
are in the know and have been.
But right now, we're really close to finishing our main suite.
Oh, guys.
We're getting confident.
And you know, those who have been studying, those of us who have been studying the body's functions, and now we're really embarking on the real purpose of food, the real benefits of food and how we should eat. For instance, eating right for our blood type, and also learning some of the pitfalls of the way that we have been eating, because this is what we're used to. And so in that being the case, then we can share that information with our loved ones, with our friends, and, you know, help to bring them up to speed on what is really going on here. You know, I can't tell you the number of docs, even medical doctors that I have reviewed talking about the food that we're eating and the rate of disease and dysfunction in this country, and how many come to the conclusion that it's the food. You know, there are, I don't know of specifically any countries that allow a lot of our food in their country, but I can tell you there are many who are not having it. They don't want our meat, they don't want any of it. And so that tells you a lot about what is going on in this country. We're still using, or should I say, they are still allowing certain chemicals and additives in our food supply that are banned in other countries.
Well, that's actually true. I just read a few days ago about Quaker oats. They're calling them back because a certain pesticide or some type of chemical is being sprayed on the oats. And it's not good for our bodies. So, now you can't do oats. And that was one of the most healthy things that we can eat. And so the food is not being grown in a healthy way anymore.
Exactly. And that was
So-
probably glyphosate, which is one of the ingredients in Roundup
Mhm.
and other pesticides. And some of them are literally I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here. Are some of these chemicals are actually, I'm going to say spliced in because I can't think of another word, into the seeds.
Yes.
And so that when they are planted, one, they're not going to produce any more seeds. You have to go to Monsanto to get seeds to plant the next year. And two, they are, there's a pesticide or some chemical that will repel pests, worms, and butterflies and all of those moths and what have you, so that they don't eat the plant. And so that's why a lot of the produce that you see, you don't see any wormholes in it. You don't see any holes in the greens. And I'm gonna tell you, the funniest thing is when I first started my little gardening thing, I grew some greens, some collard greens in a container on the back porch. And so I would come out to water them and what have you. And I'd look and I'd see these holes. I'm like, where are these holes coming from? And so something I did, I think I must have been spraying them just because it was so sunny. And I turned the leaf over and there was this green worm. It was the same color as the greens. And I'm like, one of those kind of things. And so I realized that, and again, getting back to the eggs and stuff that we talked about last week, how you get worms, how do you get parasites if you don't wash your produce, even though you might not eat meat, if you don't wash your produce good and as an end result, put about a teaspoon of salt in the water and let it sit for a bit, you can be eating worms, you can be eating parasites. So anyway, so I was just saying.
A pretty mean produce wash I want to recommend.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It kills 99.9% of whatever might be on there, whether it's bacteria or viruses or any of that kind of thing. So
Well, thank you.
I was
Thank
saying
you.
yeah, you're welcome. But I was saying that to say that those genetically engineered, that's what it's called now, seeds and what have you, they produce a substance called glyphosate. And they're finding that even in mother's breast milk. and I read, Roylene, I read some time ago that they were finding it in Cheerios, and Cheerios are made from oats and that kind of thing. So it behooves anybody that's got a space that they can to really start considering growing you some food. That'd probably be the safest thing you could do. Okay, so anybody else? Where we at on time? Okay. So the gentleman talked about, the purposes of the kidneys in terms of filtering and cleaning the blood, and regulating our pH, and also regulating blood pressure, because it has a lot to do with the sodium in the body, the sodium pump, and all of that kind of thing. And so it also helps to regulate blood pressure and just bring about homeostasis or balance of our internal milieu. So in terms of the mental, emotional, and metaphysical aspect of the kidneys, the consciousness, and remember I told you guys before that every part of our body, every organ in our body has a corresponding consciousness. And so for the kidneys, it's about willpower. And that is the natural consciousness of the kidneys. And it's about drive, it's about the will to survive, the will to live. And then the pathological aspect of that consciousness is about fear. And it could be about fear of life, of fear of what might happen, and those kind of things. And just coping with fear, coping with life. Now, in terms of further consciousness issues, it's about energy production. It's also about the separation of pure and impure. It can also be related to paranoia, which sometimes people have, which is an intense fear. Sometimes, if not many times, it's an irrational fear, something that just doesn't quite make sense to other people. And then the other thing, and this is going to make perfect sense, resentment, or that feeling of being pissed off. That fits right up with the kidneys and the bladder, right? And yeah, so anyway, and especially unexpressed resentment. Now, the kidneys, the parts of the body that the kidney relates to is the needs. And many times when we have some fear that we may not even mentally be aware of it, but somewhere in our mind and our spirit, we have some fear about something. And I have an experience about that. My knees started bothering me just out of the blue. One day I was walking and all of a sudden my knees just started aching, and one of them actually almost gave way. And knowing about the consciousness of the knees, the kidneys, and as it relates to fear, it made me really, really stop to think about, now, what am I afraid of? And so I do a system called Body Talk, and it prompted me to actually do a body talk And it was a fear of something that I never even considered that I might have any fearful thoughts or fearful feelings about it, but it was something very subconscious. And so once I dealt with that, the pain just automatically went away. So now when your knees start bothering you, or someone you know has some knee issues, you might want to pose that question to them. Is there something that is bothering you in terms of being fearful or that kind of thing? And that might prompt that person to really stop and think about it and have the opportunity to really reflect on what's going on and make some changes, and thereby even reduce or be relieved of that discomfort in the knees. The other thing, let me see where we're at, 50. Okay. There are also muscles that are related specifically to the kidney, and those are like the deltoid muscles up in here, the upper trapezius muscles, muscles that line either side of the spine. They're called the sacrospinalis, and just says that they're on either side of your spine. And also your hamstrings. Sometimes you might have an issue with the hamstring that can be related to kidney function. And then the posterior tibialis, that's a muscle in your lower leg. So any and all of these could actually be giving you a hint when there's discomfort there that there's something going on with the kidneys. Okay, so now in terms of our products, we got our trusty aronia berry juice. And you know, the aronia berry juice is full of antioxidants. In fact, it has the highest score on the ORAC, the highest rating on the ORAC scale at 41,000, as opposed to the standard aronia berry, which is like 16,000. So it's got many, many, many antioxidants. It's chock full of them, that as well as the phenols, the polyphenols, and other substances that protect the body from the oxidative stress that we experience on a daily basis. I mentioned before about a study that was done by the National Institutes of Health, and they actually provided a senior facility, like a nursing home, with aronia berry juice, excuse me, because they wanted to see what the effects of the juice would be on the kidney function of the residents, because seniors typically have an increased incidence of bladder infections, kidney infections, and that kind of thing. And after, I think it was 3 months, lo and behold, the rate of bladder and kidney infections dropped significantly, which spoke to the, that antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties of the aronia berry juice, as well as the anti-infective properties, which they also identified. Then we always want to look at the toxins that we hold and continue to bring into our body just by virtue of the fact that we're breathing. There's so many toxins in the air. I think a couple of weeks ago, we talked about where do toxins come from? And so we talked about the environmental pollutants, the companies that unleash all types, all manner of fumes into the air, the exhaust from cars and trains and boats and planes, as well as, I'm not even gonna talk about the chemtrails, but as well as the foods that we eat and the chemicals that are used in the growth and processing of the foods that we eat. We're looking at the ultra processed foods because it's not just processed foods anymore. They got stuff that will sit on the shelves till Juvember and will not spoil, will not rot, and that kind of thing. And so those chemicals that they utilize to make that happen, we ingest them. They don't just disappear, we ingest them. And so those foods, those ultra processed foods have significantly less, if any, real nutrients for our bodies to be able to perform the task that they need to perform. So eating a lot of processed or ultra processed foods really brings about a form of malnutrition.
5 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, and so that speaks to the need for us to encourage people and understand the importance of our beneficial flat belly lifestyle cleanse, because it literally helps our bodies to detoxify from some of these toxins and pollutants and what have you that our bodies are storing in the cells and in the tissues and the organs. So, you know, first of all, we've got our purifier, the liquid colonic, which cleans us out like a Drano, cleans out all the gook, the caked on fecal material and old food and crud that we many times had in us since we were kids. Who was that? Bernadine showed us a couple of images of a colon that had been laid out on the table after an autopsy, and it was distended. It should be something like this in terms of diameter, and literally it was more like this, and it was full of feces. It was full of stools. And so when you see that laying on the table, this mass, and then you, in your mind, you say, oh, wow, that is caked up in our intestine, especially the colon, which is just a tube that goes around like that, and then the small intestine are in the inside. And so then you start to think about the people that you see, especially the some of the men with these big beer bellies. Guess what? That's feces in those intestines, and that's what's causing their bellies to stick out like that. 2 minutes. Got you, Brenda. So, you know, when we see these things, we can assist people in gaining a better understanding of what's going on in their body. And we can, you know, tactfully mention some of these things too, especially some of these family and friends that we see in this state, because from what we know and what we have been learning, they're in trouble. Then we have once things have been cleaned out, we also have our eliminator, which kills the parasites that we were talking about earlier, and also helps to eliminate a lot of that excess mucus, because we do have some mucus that is friendly mucus, but that excess mucus is really what gets us and contributes to our inability to assimilate and process the foods, the nutrients that we take in. And then once we clean that out, then we back it up with our superfoods, which provides dense nutrients to provide our body with raw materials to regenerate those old dead cells. And now the body can work at a higher or its maximum capacity, thereby being able to heal, regulate, and regenerate itself, just as it should. And Dr. Roz is going to be popping up here any minute now. And then last but not least, we've got our protein, which also helps to provide the body on a continual basis with high quality protein that the body can use in the rebuilding and repair of those old dead cells. So that I'm going to end here, but I wanted to say, is Weta on the phone? Is Weta on the line? I know last week she asked about how many grams of protein there were in a serving of our protein powder, Protein Blaster, and it's actually 4 grams per serving.
Dr. Betty,
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Betty.
quick question.
Congratulations on your fantastic weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very excited. One quick question, please. To my understanding right, that I can address the Rona berry juice to the convalescent homes, to the retirement homes?
Say that again.
To my understanding that I can address the Rona berry juice to the convalescent home, to the retirement homes? For the health of people in their homes?
Sure. You know what, Betty, and let me get you that that study by the National Institutes of Health.
Great.
And that give you some substantiating data.
Do you have a pen? You can write my phone number down? Because I don't think I have time to put in shit unless I put in Dr.
I'm ready.
Ross shit.
Hit me.
Betty Watts.
I got it.
601
Okay.
382-3539. 601-382-3539. Thank
Got
you.
Okay.
Dr. Betty,
thank
what's
you.
your email right quick? This
Uh,
is Nana.
Betty Williams.
No, we got it, Betty. We got
Okay.
it, Betty.
Okay.
It's compliance@acana.com.
Wh-
Compliance, COMPLIANCE @acana.com.
Okay, what you want me to do with that?
Who asked me? Oh no, Anna
Anna.
asked me for. Anna asked me for.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and see you next week with more info on the kidneys. Hey, Dr.